age, 27 years old and an office worker. I have a boyfriend whose name is Andy. He's 3 years older than I. I met him in the office. We found each other and got along well, and we were engaged recently. We live separately now, but we'll move into a condo as we get married. I wish I could say that I'm just counting the days until my wedding and everything is rosy, but Andy likes nightlife and doesn't change the habit of going out with friends every night. He's very social and has lots of friends. He's also nice and cute and quite popular. Of course, I was one of those who was attracted to those qualities of his, but I didn't know that he was a people pleaser and nice just about to anybody until we were engaged. He prioritizes his social life over me, so I'm alone and lonely every night. But it's probably a good thing that a fiancé is a popular and likable guy. Andy, I don't want you to take this the wrong way, but now that we're engaged, can you go out at night a little less often? But he didn't take it seriously.
Huh? But once I got married, I can't go out like I do now, right? That's why I'm enjoying a bachelor's life now.
But you leave me alone every night. I wish you could spend more time with me too, not just with your friends.
But I'll be stuck with you forever once we get married. It's just a few weeks away. What's the big deal? You know I'm popular, right? I'm busy every day. Don't worry about it. You're the most important thing in the world.
Well, that doesn't sound realistic at all. And that wasn't my only concern. When he goes out, he's more than a people pleaser and tends to treat them with food and drinks excessively. He's a big spender in general. He likes fine things and high-end brand clothes and shoes, and later would have a hard time managing personal finances. Even though we're engaged, he barely has savings. So we decided to save money first for the wedding. But without changing this spending habit, how could we possibly save for the wedding? I mentioned this to him multiple times, but he would just repeat, "It'll be okay, we'll manage it." Maybe once we get married and he becomes more aware of his role as a husband, he will change. Andy would spend money as soon as he gets it. I don't know if we can really have a wedding someday. I couldn't keep my concern to myself, but voiced it in front of my parents.
When they're young, socializing is part of the life. I used to brag, I won't leave a dime for tomorrow, which was a cool idea for young men, right, dear?
Honey, Paige is living in a different time, and it wasn't a picnic for me either.
Oh, I'm sorry, dear. You've been a good wife. I hope you and Andy will become like us.
I guess my parents had ups and downs over the years. The question is, will Andy and I become like them? Still, that is a problem, Paige. I don't want to be nosy about the things between you and Andy, though.
She's right. You two had better talk about it before getting married.
I guess you're right. But no matter how many times we talked about it, he didn't listen to me or change his lifestyle. Well, Dad said he was like that too. I guess I just have to believe in him. Once we get married, he will change for me. And I stopped telling him the same thing over and over. Finally, we managed to save enough to have our wedding. It'll be a small wedding because of our budget, but I can't believe we can finally get married.
Yeah, I know. We didn't have to rush, though.
Don't say that. You don't want to marry me? We arranged everything from the venue to sending out the invitations, but he didn't seem to be as excited as I was. I couldn't help but raise my voice.
No, I didn't mean that.
But he didn't look very happy. Lately, he would come home later than before, and he seemed to go out night after night. He rarely had overtime, so he would leave the office at 5. Besides, his colleagues were mostly family men. Didn't Andy say they were no fun because they didn't want to socialize very much after work? And so were his friends. If so, wait a minute. Then who is with Andy every night? Is he having an affair? Oh, the thought made me anxious. The only thing I could do was ask him, so I did ask him directly. Andy, I have to ask you something. Probably it's just I think too much, but it's important. Are you having an affair?
What? But no, I'm not having an affair.
Judging from his reaction, it was very suspicious, but it's not like I had proof. I couldn't say any more that day, and I just left. I was thinking for a few days whether I should hire a private detective or do the detective work myself. Then one day I had a visitor. Who's there? There was a young woman on the intercom screen. Who is this? A door-to-door salesperson? Maybe someone from the church. Okay. Ciao! Non son parlar inglés. This always repels these kinds. This time I pretended to be Italian. The woman on the screen looked puzzled for a moment, but didn't seem to leave yet, and... No. I know you're American, and I know who you are. You're Paige, Andy's fiancé, right? My name is Brittany. Oh, does she know Andy? But why come to my place? It doesn't make sense to me, but I couldn't just ignore her if she knew Andy, so I opened the door. Yes, I'm Paige. Oh, I'm glad. I wanted to meet you, but Andy wouldn't tell me where you lived, so I had to snoop on his phone. How did you snoop on his phone? She saw me confused and decided to drop a bomb once and for all. I am pregnant with Andy's child. Excuse me? I don't understand what you're saying. I'm telling you that I am expecting his child. He said he preferred a younger girl, unlike you. What? What is this woman saying? I couldn't keep up with this development or catch my breath. You must know deep down that I am a better match for Andy, who is rich and handsome, than yourself, who's only getting older. Not only that, he's the future president, and I'm a future president's wife. I know I was suspicious of him, but this development right before our wedding was too much for me. I know he'll make a good husband and father for our child, so you're going to have to step aside. Don't worry about the money. He's rich enough to pay you compensation. That's all I wanted to say to you. Bye! Leaving me there frozen, Brittany walked out the door. Ugh, that shameless girl. She just said what she had in mind and left. Slowly, the gravity of what had happened dawned on me, but she was gone already. I immediately called Andy to confront him. Andy, Brittany was just here and she told me everything. Is it true? He was silent at first, but when I insisted he tell the truth, he finally confessed.
What can I say? Yes, it's true. Well, it just happened. I met her casually and we got along and it just happened. And now that she's pregnant, I have to call off the engagement. Good thing this happened before the wedding, right?
I didn't hear the slightest remorse in his words and my patience ran out. Good, he said? Bastard! He was cheating on me while he was engaged to me, and he got her pregnant! Brittany sounded as if Andy and her happened because I was older than her, and Andy admitted the affair with no sorry. I couldn't control my rage. I even hated myself for loving and going to marry this world-class jerk. These two are unforgiven. I tried to calm myself down and decided to get back to this idiot couple. To start, the moment he canceled the wedding, it was like he had one foot in the coffin. And it gets better. Andy and I officially broke off our engagement. Of course, I received compensation. Canceling the wedding venue, etc. cost a lot, but Andy paid it on the spot somehow.
Now I can be with Brittany without hiding.
I love you, Andy. Only they didn't know that they were on board the Hellbound Express. A year passed, and I was back to my old life. In retrospect, the lifestyle of waiting for someone to come home wasn't really me. I sort of rediscovered myself. It was like having a bad dream that I was so into that phony man. How come I was so in love with that kind of man? Well, he was cute all right, which was my weakness. I couldn't imagine Andy was that degree of jackass. I was completely fooled by his false appearance. Think of it as a life lesson to find the true love. I was well over him enough to have a conversation like this with Mom. Then one day, when I'd forgotten about them completely, I got several phone calls from an unknown caller. Oh no, it must be some cold calls. Who would call back? But later I found out it was from Brittany. Since I ignored the call, she sent me an SMS. It wrote, "Hey, don't ignore me. It's Brittany, Andy's wife. Brittany. Pick up the phone, you witch." It was on the weekend, and I found these messages while I was at my parents' house. Mom and I grinned to see them. Maybe it's time she wakes up to the real world. Oh, it took longer than I thought. She kept sending more SMS, so I finally answered the phone. Hey, it's Paige. What's up? Then, as if she couldn't wait to yell at me, "You owe me an explanation. Andy was rich and a future president? He has no money, no job, and a huge debt. Once the baby was born, he just took off." Mom and I had a good hard laugh out of it. Yes, I knew when she described Andy as rich and a future president that she had a huge misunderstanding. She probably got the idea since he worked for a company my dad ran. He didn't have any particular prospects, but he did what he was supposed to do. So with my support, he could potentially become a future president. But that plan was down the drain when we broke off our engagement. He couldn't bear to stay in the office and quit. Not only the wedding cancellation cost, which my parents offered to help, but also compensation to me must pile up quite a lot of debt. If Brittany didn't know all of it up until now, it must be Andy who didn't tell her the truth and kept deceiving her. Andy was a master at fooling people, so when I told her everything, she was yelling and screaming on the other side of the phone. I have to say, thank you for taking over that playboy with generous compensation. Thanks to him, I'm the one who'll be the future president. What did you just say? I paid you the compensation and ended up having such baggage. Well, it's too late for you to complain. We don't accept returns. Oh, not in return. He ran away, right? Oops, that sounded like karma. Well, happy parenting. After I hung up the phone, I blocked her. It took longer than I thought, but this completes my revenge. I feel great. Later, I heard that Andy didn't get the next job for a while and took out a loan from a shark multiple times without telling Brittany the truth. Just before the child was born, he was drowning in debt and disappeared, abandoning Brittany and the child. Wow, that's the lowest low. But he couldn't get away from the collectors, and now he's forced to work at some shady factory. Unfortunately, there's no room for sympathy for his repeated heartless actions. He deserves his new job. Brittany, on the other hand, was brought back to her parents' house. She works part-time all day long while raising her child. She was already in debt after paying me the compensation, but counted on Andy's money to go further in debt and go on a shopping spree. It seems that she's secretly behind on her payments. As for me, I'm working hard every day to succeed in my dad's business.
Paige, it's time for us to go global, and we're hiring some talented people from overseas.
Wow, we're expanding? Oh, good for you, Dad.
This is Robert from Australia. Paige, can you show him around?
Hi, Robert. Cute.
No, Paige, stop right there!
Oh no, you're right, Dad. Whew, I have to restrain myself.
Thank you for watching! What kind of crazy people will we get to see next?